Hey everyone, what the FEC is up? Today we're going to be talking about one of the most often used and fundamental tools in all of the Revit API, your filtered element collector. And I've got a tip for you that's going to make your code not only easier to create, but easier to read and easier to maintain. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Quick Tips. I said quick tip, not trip. So stupid. All right, on with the tip. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of this line right here where we're newing up the filtered element collector. And the way to get rid of newing up a class is to put it in a factory method. And then the best place for a factory method, or for this factory method, is on the document object. And the way to get it on the document object is to put it into an extension method. And I personally like to start at the end by calling my extension methods before I've actually created the extension methods. So our extension method will look something like this. It's off of our document object, and we will call it CreateCollector because we're creating a collector. And now that I know what the call looks like, we can go create it. We'll create a folder to hold our extension methods. And then in that folder, we'll create our extension method class. And we'll make our class static because the classes that hold extension methods and the methods themselves need to be static. And this method is we're creating a collector, so it needs to return a filtered element collector. You have to type it correctly or it won't return anything. We called it CreateCollector. This is an extension method off of our document object. Now what we need to do is inside this factory method, we need to new up our filtered element collector. One of the problems for me is I never know what to call these things, so let's just come up with a good name. And now that we've created an instance of our collector, we'll just return it. And then if we go back to our command and we import in our namespace, we now have got rid of that newing up that collector class and have placed it into a factory method. Now you may be saying to yourself, so flipping what? We hadn't really done anything. But that's not entirely true, because with our new factory method, this wall collector variable has become irrelevant and we can get rid of it just like this. And not only can we get rid of the variable, but we can get rid of that entire line of code. Yes! But let's not get too excited because we still have more work to do. If we were to enumerate over this walls variable, like in a for each loop or by converting this to a list, we would see that we have an IEnumerable of elements and not walls, even though we told it we wanted walls here. So one simple way to get around that is to just cast all of our elements to walls. So now our short line of code is becoming longer and longer. And this is a pattern that I found quite often in my code base, and I found a really easy way to get rid of it with another extension method. So how do we want this call to look? My thought is we would want something just like that. Now this extension method is going to be off of our filtered element collector object, so we need to create a new class to hold it. And this one also needs to be static, just like the other. And so this method is going to return an IEnumerable of some type of object, but we don't know what, so we'll make it generic. And we named it of class, and it's generic, and it's an extension method of our filtered element collector. I really hate typing filtered element collector for some reason. One of the reasons may be that I haven't typed it in a really long time, and hopefully after you implement these tips, you won't have to either. And again, I don't know what to name it, so we'll come up with another good name. Okay, so now we need to collect our elements off of our filtered element collector. And type of our type, then we will do the cast to our type. And so now we have our elements and we'll just return them. So if we go back to our command, now we have this single short line of beautiful code. Absolutely love it. way better than what we had before. Even though before it was just 2 lines of code, it's better in every way that you could want. So let's go look at how we can simplify an even more detailed collector. So here we know immediately we're gonna get rid of this entire line of code here where we newed up the filtered element collector. Just replace this with a call to our CreateCollector. All right, there's one line of code down. We also know we can get rid of this entire call here of cast, and that of class now becomes our of class, and there's 2 lines of code gone. Now, as great as that is, and it is great, there's very little I enjoy more than deleting lines of code. It doesn't come without some consequence. So our CreateCollector extension method, you feel free, there's no consequence to using it. Feel free to use it anywhere that you would new up a filtered element collector. However, our of class extension method has some consequence in that it has to always fall at the end of your filters that you're applying to your collector. So notice here, our of category, it is a method that is off of our filtered element collector, but as soon as we go to of class, it no longer returns a filtered element collector. It returns an IEnumerable of the types we've asked for, so we can no longer apply filters after it. So right here, let's say I wanted to apply another filter. Great, we can do that. But if I wanted to apply another filter here, I can no longer do it because now we have a link expression. I can't apply additional link expressions and filter via link expressions, but I can no longer do it through the Revit API filters. So there you go. I hope you found these tips useful. Let me know in the comments how many lines of code you kill or how much carpal tunnel you save yourself by no longer typing filtered element collectors. Until next time.